How are you?
Good. How are you, buddy?
Not too bad. Not too bad. How was the Royal Rumble? You were in the Royal Rumble.
Oh my God. Well, it took four men to take me out. Four men. And that low down and dirty Sami Zayn cheap shot at me, but I'll get my revenge. I promise you.
I love that you're cutting a promo right now. Does it hurt to get thrown? Did you get thrown out? I didn't watch it. Did you get thrown out?
Well, technically, that low down and dirty Sami Zayn kicked me in the face and I flew out of the ring, but I'll get him back.
So let's talk about the new film. The idea to make this film is 10 years old, right? Like, what was the moment that you realized you wanted to keep this going?
Ever since the last film, I have been writing, not knowing if we would do another one, but just in case, I would email ideas to myself. And one day, I think it was 2018, I had an overwhelming feeling of like, I want to go shoot these ideas. So I asked Jeff Tremaine to meet me for lunch and talk about it. He didn't know what I was going to bring up, but I really surprised him that I wanted to make another one.
Was it hard to get the other guys on board?
They had been wanting to make another film since the last one, and they would email me every year or so. I mean, we were in contact, I see them and we're in contact, but I would get like a yearly email, like wanting to make another film. And it usually came from Dave England. And sometimes he was nice about it. And sometimes he was pretty upset about it.
Just being like, hey, I want to be back in this thing. I want to do this thing again.
That would be the nice way he would put it. And then I would get angry emails like, what are you doing? Why are we not, And then the other cast members would chime in and, I just didn't feel it though. So I didn't cave because I think that would have not been great for the movie. The reason I was making the movie is because I was succumbing to peer pressure. I have to want to make a movie to, especially one like this, where everyone's life's on the line. I have to really want to do it to make another one. So I waited until I got that feeling.
Yeah, were you reluctant at all just because you guys are getting older? Like, I know you're all in pretty great shape. But were you reluctant at all to do this stuff as you guys were getting older?
No, the age really didn't have anything to do with it. It was just, I didn't have that feeling. And it comes down to that. It's just that overwhelming desire to make it happen. But age really didn't affect it.
What does a stunt have to have for you to film it? Because all I can think is there must be so many ideas that don't make it onto the actual finished product, or ideas that don't even get shot. What does a stunt need to have for you to want to film it?
Well, it's our best guess at what's funny. Right. And it has to make Jeff and I laugh in the room for us to film it. And if it does, because that's the only way we know what we're doing is funny, is if we make it laugh, if it makes us laugh. Like, that's how we started doing this. And that's how we still do it. If we're on the set and we're filming and everyone is laughing, something's going right. And if I look over at Jeff Tremaine and he's either crying from laughter or in total shock, like, oh my God, are you okay? I feel like we've gotten something. So, but we could never be able to think like, well, are the fans going to think this is funny? We wouldn't even know where to begin if we had that mindset. So luckily the fans kind of are on par with us. If we think it's funny, they think it's funny.
Given that this is a Canadian show, I wanted to talk through a couple of the stunts in the movie. I don't think we're giving anything away. Can you talk to me about the hockey stunt?
Oh my God. PK Subban. We had a very special guest, PK Subban, and he's one of our favorite guests ever. He was so down to shoot. And we're doing a cup test with Aaron McGeehee to see if he can take a hockey puck to the ding ding.
Yeah, and wearing a cup like a jock, wearing a cup to see if it can make it.
Yeah, and PK Subban really elevated that stunt 100% because he was so on board. And he was talking so much smack to Aaron and getting inside his head. Like PK Subban is a first-class smack talker, and he can back it up. And it's crazy how much puck control he has. He asked Jeff Tremaine, the director, he's like, where do you want me to put the first one? And Jeff goes, right here.
Between the eyes.
And he put it right between his eyes, not at his nose or his mouth or his forehead, right between the eyes. And when it was time to hit the cup, his ding ding, PK says, okay, I'm going to hit you in the cup now. And he also said a couple of other things, which I probably can't repeat on your show. But he's got amazing puck control. He's extremely funny.
But I guess like me and like all of us, he probably grew up with the show. He probably grew up. The people who are in it now grew up with the show.
Yeah, like PK was a fan, and we're a huge fan of his. Eric Andre is in it. He grew up with the show, and he got the full treatment. We shot with some special guests, Eric Andre, Machine Gun Kelly, Tyler, the creator, and they got the full treatment. Because I asked Jeff, I'm like, how do I treat these guys that are coming in? Do I go after them? And Jeff said, kill them. I said, all right.
I watched the stunt where you got hurt pretty bad. I didn't know whether you were gonna participate fully or you were just gonna do the odd thing here and there. But then, I mean, I guess we should talk about it. Then you got hit by a bull pretty bad, right?
Yeah, it was my worst bull hit I've ever received. Great footage though. But I broke my wrist, broke my rib, got a concussion, a brain hemorrhage, and it took me a few months to come back from.
How are you doing?
I'm fully recovered now, but it was a bear to come back from.
Yeah, I mean, do you remember anything about it? Like, do you remember, or did you have to watch it to know what happened, or do you remember anything about the bull hitting you?
I had to watch it to know what happened. I remember the bull right before it hit me. And after that, I had no memory of what happened until they sent me the footage in the hospital.
So is that it for you with those kind of stunts now?
Well, I love bulls so much, but because I've had like 16 concussions and some very serious ones, the doctor told me I can no longer have any more concussions. And I could do smaller stunts, right?
Yeah.
You break your wrist, break an ankle, whatever, but I just can't have any more blows to the head like that.
Is that hard to hear?
Yes, because I do love bulls so much. And not to think that I can never get in the ring with one again, it crushes me.
Why do you love bulls so much?
I guess the producer in me knows what wonderful footage we get. And they're amazing animals. They are just dying to perform. They hate you. They want to kill you. And not because if you're wearing red, or they just want to kill anything that moves. Movement makes them extremely angry. If something moves, they want to hit it until it stops moving, whether it's a person or an inanimate object. They just hate movement.
You know, most people, if they get a concussion, it's not something they're really happy about. It's something they get hurt and they're not delighted about it. And you're kind of sad about it. Like, you don't mind getting hurt as long as you get the good footage from it.
Right. The producer side of me overrides the performer side.
The producer side of you also overrides like the person side.
Yes. I have a very complicated relationship with that type of thing.
You know what I mean?
No, I know what you're saying. And, I'll give my therapist a call later about it.
You can bill me. It's all right.
Yeah.
Well, I mentioned this at the beginning of the interview when I was introducing you, is that I think if you think of Jackass as a show about people hitting themselves, you're missing something, because to me the show is, and this new movie proves it more than anything, is a show about relationships. Like, it's a show about you guys loving one another. Am I onto something there?
That's 100% why I believe that Jackass has done as well as it has. As you can tell, even all the crazy stuff we do to one another, you can tell that we love each other and we're one big dysfunctional, happy family. And we've been through so much on and off the screen. And yeah, it is, like you said, I think maybe it's about love or a love story. And I don't think that's too far off. A really perverted love story.
What kind of relationship do you have to have with somebody that is forged out of watching them get beat up and get hurt?
Well, it's a very open relationship and very, at times, very honest. And while we're filming, it's very dishonest because they don't know anything that's going on, and anything that's coming out of my mouth is not truthful, and they know it. They know not to ask what's going on because they know I'm not going to tell them.
But they also have to know that you have their best interests at heart at the very end of it, at the very end of the day.
Yeah, they know that we're not going to do anything. Like, we don't mind if they get hurt, but we're not setting out to get them injured. Sometimes that happens, but that's not the goal. And sometimes, quite honestly, sometimes we go too far, but a lot of times the tone is right in the sweet spot. And that tone is a very tough thing to hit and manage when you're doing something like this. So it's all our best guess.
Yeah, I've always felt like the show works the best because of the laughter after the stunt. Because you get to see a bunch of friends together laughing at what happened along with the person who got hurt.
Right. And sometimes there's no laughter after the stunt, like the bull. It was just there was some laughs before the stunt, but afterwards you can just see the concern on everyone's face. And that's when you feel the love. And, there's many emotions you'll be dealing with in any Jackass movie.
Well, one of the emotions I felt at the end of the Jackass movie was a little bit of sadness when I saw you guys pay tribute to Ryan Dunn at the end of the movie. I don't know I almost don't know what I want to ask about it, but yeah, he was on my mind the whole time I watched the film.
Yeah, he's on all our minds. We wanted to pay tribute to Ryan and all the fun we had, but it still sits in a very sad place in our heart. But I just try to remember the great, wonderful times I had with him and what he meant to my life and our lives, and try to remember him that way.
Yeah, I should probably try to tell people who he was. So Ryan Dunn was a big member of the Jackass crew. He died in a car crash in 2011. Yeah, it must have been bittersweet in some ways making it without him.
Yeah, it was, and that was in the back of our mind. He was such a huge part of it. And I think he would have been, who knows? He would have probably had the best footage in the new film because he just had that spirit.
Can you tell me a story about him?
Everybody knows like all the stuff he did on screen, but he was so wonderful to my daughter growing up. I remember him coming over one night to my house, and he had this remote control helicopter he bought for Madison. And Madison loved Ryan, right? She was like 9 or 10 years old when he brought this over, and he was working it for about 5 minutes before he got it stuck in the tree and it exploded. But that's as long as the toy lasted. But Madison had a ball with that. And I remember when he passed, I had to go up in her bedroom and tell her, and it was such a hard thing to do. And then I thought, I've had 2 kids since then, and they won't get to know Ryan like Madison did. And that upset me for a while. That upset me at him for a while. But
it upset you at him.
There. Yeah, I was for how he died, and like, my kids won't get to know you.
Yeah.
But I don't sit in that place anymore. But that was my reaction in the moment, right? Because I was feeling all these feelings when he passed, and I was upset at him. But I'm not upset at him anymore. I love him, and yeah, it's tough to do this without him.
Yeah. It must be heartening to know when it comes to Jackass that some of the people who were, I don't think I'm giving anything away here, some of the people who were doing the stunts in the new movie are guys who grew up watching Jackass. And part of the new Jackass crew are young guys as well. And like, this is a thing that started out with you making videos for like a magazine. Some of the guys making videos for like VHS skateboard comps. Like, it must be meaningful to you to see it kind of go on through these new Jackassers.
Right. We're constantly surprised by our success, but super appreciative. Like, we never thought it could be a television show. We thought it would go on the air and they would jerk it off the air. And we never thought anyone was going to show up for the movies, but thank God they have. And it's surreal. It's just something I created with me and my friends created, and that it means something to people is mind blowing.
Do you think it can just keep going forever? Like I was saying to my buddy that like I can just see, as long as you are there, Johnny, being like, even if you were having a walker or something like that, going like, hey, this is the so-and-so stunt. Like, I feel like I can watch new guys do it forever.
Yeah, it could go on, right? We could make another one. We have no plans to, but we definitely could make another one. Because there is a lot of new blood out there. We found that out for sure. And we have so many ideas we never even got to get to. Funny ideas, great ideas that we didn't get to just because you can only shoot so much.
Well, I got a real kick out of it, as I always do. I loved watching it. It was really weird to watch it in the offices of the Canadian Broadcasting Corporation.
Right.
But I got away with it.
Yeah. It feels like, Steve-O said, you don't want to be on a roller coaster alone. You want to be on a roller coaster with everyone else.
Yeah.
And so it's much better in a theater, seeing a Jackass film, as long as you can do it safely, of course.
Did you ever sneak into like a Jackass screening and just watch it?
I haven't, but I know that Jeff Tremaine, the director, usually drives around on opening night and does that very thing. But that's a little bit easier for him than me. So it would be fun.
Johnny, thanks for the movie and thanks for everything.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much to you and all our friends in Canada.
Johnny Knoxville is the star of Jackass Forever. That movie is out in theaters now.